Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. First things first this week, the wax that I have been waiting on for a week and a half has arrived, which means I can make some candles. I assume that is pretty much how I'm going to be spending most of my day. I will come back to you guys at some point in the day and let you know what I'm currently reading and how everything's going. But for now, let's make some candles. Finished working for the day so I can come and let you guys know what I'm currently reading. So when I left you last week, I was still reading Blood Heir by Emily Wenzel, and I'm currently still reading Blood Heir by Emily Wenzel. This is a loose retelling of Anastasia. In this book, we have a main character who has blood magic. In this world, there are affinites who have affinities. I think that the word is pronounced affinite because affinity, but I don't know. I really don't like that word. It's not easy to say and to work out how to say because I automatically want to say affinite, but I don't think that's right. I think it's affinite, and oh god, no, I just don't like it. But people have these affinities in all sorts of different things. Our main character is a princess, and 1 year prior to the start of this novel, she was wrongly accused of murdering her father, and because of that, she ran away, and everybody has assumed that she's dead and she drowned in the river. Flash forward to where this novel actually starts, and Anastasia is breaking out the notorious criminal Ramson Quicktongue out of jail so that he can help her find the guy who she saw actually murdering her father, so that she can then take him back to the palace where her brother is currently the emperor and clear her name and reclaim her kingdom. Those two end up striking up a deal as Ramson will not give her his help for free. After they have completed this mission and found the guy they're looking for, Ramson then wants Anastasia to help him seek revenge on the people who have wronged him and resulted in him ending up in prison. So that is the plot of this. I don't really want to tell you too much about my feelings on this because I will have finished it soon and I'll be wrapping it up as a whole. I don't really get the Anastasia retelling bits in here. There aren't very many similarities to Anastasia at all. However, the character of Ramson is very much a retelling of the character of Dimitri, so if anything, it's a Dimitri retelling. I'm not finding the writing to be particularly engaging. I would struggle to give you a blow-by-blow account of what actually happens in here. I'm currently on page 360, and yeah, my main issue is that I just don't really find it engaging. I'm struggling to focus when I'm reading it. I'm not retaining any of what's going on in here, and it's just really not holding my attention. But I do hope to have this finished by tonight. If I don't have this finished by tonight, I will be severely behind on my owls. And for the Owls Magical Readathon, this one is for astronomy, to read a book mostly at night. I have read the entirety of this book when it's dark outside, aside from the last 18 pages, which I have read today. But as I have already read the majority of it at night time, I'm just going to power through and get this finished now. And then this is also on my Bookopoly TBR, and this was specifically selected for me by a chance card. So that is all I'm currently reading at the moment. Hopefully I will be back tomorrow to tell you my full thoughts on this one. I'm actually really not sure what my star rating for this is going to come out as, but I'm I'm guessing it's going to be either 2 or 3 stars, which is incredibly disappointing because I was really looking forward to this one. So today I've made a ton of candles. I think I made around 50 before I stopped because I didn't want to lose track of where I was up to with my orders. I find it really relaxing making candles and going through my orders, because every time I make a candle that completes somebody's order, I kind of get that endorphin boost, you know, from like taking something off your to-do list. And then after I made candles, I also spent an hour working on my other business that I never talk about because it's not interesting. I did also receive this morning off my Amazon wish list. Not sure who this is from. I think it could be from Claire, because Claire did ask me to reopen my Amazon wish list for my birthday, but I am saving all wish list parcels until my birthday now anyway. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. My birthday is on a Tuesday, so I'm either going to film an unboxing video on my birthday and post it on the Thursday, or I will open them all on my birthday in my vlog. But thank you to whoever sent me this, probably Claire. I will be opening it in a couple of weeks. So that's all I have for you at this moment. I currently have dinner in the oven. This evening I'm going to spend entirely on editing last week's vlog. I did a little bit last night, but I still have the majority of it to go. And tomorrow I'm going to be very busy with packing orders, so I kind of want all of my vlog done tonight if possible. And then when I'm done with that, I probably won't have very much of my day left, but I will spend the rest of it trying to finish Blood Heir.
Robbie and Massimo looked at each other and did that nodding thing that boys do. Massimo looked at me in a sort of odd way. I couldn't tell what he was thinking. Or I could tell what I was thinking though.
Managed to finish Blood Heir by Amelie Wenzhou. I gave this 2 stars and I'm really sad about it. So I think I did mention yesterday, I definitely mentioned last week, my biggest problem with this book is that I just did not find it engaging. There was just something about the writing style in here that just really did not gel with me. I was really struggling with concentration when I was reading this. I was reading a page, actually I was reading like 2 pages and then suddenly realized that I had no idea what was happening and had to go back and reread them. I don't necessarily think that the writing is bad, it just was not gripping me in any way, shape or form. I did go ahead and look into whether this was adult or young adult, and I am categorizing it as adult because in the UK it is being sold as adult, although in the US it is young adult and has been written as young adult. Now regarding the plot, I do think that this has a very standard young adult plot. We have a princess framed for the murder of her father, so she runs away, and it is about reclaiming her throne, or more importantly, her being able to go back home. She has this blood magic, this affinity that allows her to control people's blood. Like, she can physically maneuver it, so she can move people around by controlling their blood and cause them to have like nosebleeds or just explode, really. Actually, it is quite heavy on the description in those aspects. The magic system actually in this all feels very Red Queen like, and I love Red Queen, don't get me wrong. If I read it for the first time now, I'm not sure how I would feel about it, but I did love Red Queen. Red Queen is one of my favorite series, and the abilities in here, I mean, they're all very different. There doesn't seem to be any classification, it doesn't have any limitations. I like it when a world has different types of magic but there are limits. For example, you can have like nature magic, blood magic, elemental magic, but there are very set groups within all of these sectors. In this, it was literally whatever person with whatever magic needed to appear at the time, they existed. There's somebody with fear magic in here, which is a branch of flesh magic. There's somebody with emotional magic, there's blood magic, there's wind magic, and to be fair, you know, I just chalked it down to world building, learning more about the world and the magic, until somebody turned up with marble magic. Somebody with the power specifically to control marble, not to control rock, not to control stone, but specifically marble, and I was just like, this is, no, I don't like it. Regarding the actual plot in this, I do think that I have a specific issue with it. The plot goes in circles, like literally the entire plot of this book is one huge circle. I was so frustrated at the end of this because, as I said, it's supposed to be a loose Anastasia retelling. It is very loose, I do very slightly see it. It's more of a Dimitri retelling in that his character follows Dimitri's character arc, and there's just, I thought it was going to be insta-lovey at one point, because the characters just decide at some point that they do actually like each other more than they intended to, but then it was no lovey. It was no lovey, and I just feel kind of cheated all around in this book, because I do actually like the character of Ramzan. I know last week I was 100 pages into this and not feeling it. I don't love him, but he's okay. He's probably the best character I read in here. The plot, as I said, is one big circle, but there's just so many little circles in there. There's a specific character and it's like, oh, he's a bad guy. No, he's a good guy. Oh wait, he's a bad guy. No, he's a good guy. Oh shit, he really is a bad guy. Nope, he's a good guy. Just like, make your mind up. Stop having this character come in to do literally everything that everyone needs him to do because he just switches sides every 10 seconds. I just don't get it. I can't attribute a lack of focus to my dislike of this book. I honestly can't tell you whether if it is this book or if it's me. I would say that it is partially this book. I don't think this book is all that great. However, my lack of focus could very easily have contributed to my dislike of this. However, I definitely think that it was the book and the writing that caused me to lose focus, because I read other things alongside this and had absolutely no problems. There were very impactful things that happened in this book, things that were supposed to make me really emotional. Literally could not care less because of my lack of attachment to this book. I'm really sad. I'm really disappointed. I got into the last 100 pages and, you know, I was kind of enjoying how things were wrapping up, but then this guy who just keeps switching sides was just everywhere doing everything. Then when I got to the end and everything just came round in a big circle, I was like, what is the point? What was the point in me reading this? I don't know if I'm going to read the sequel. Kind of tempted, but I feel like the way, like the last chapter of this book, where everything comes round in a circle and nothing happens between the main characters, I don't think I'm going to be reading the sequel at this moment. I may do, never say never, but I'm going to say it's a probably not, and this was definitely the most disappointing book that I've read this year so far, because I did expect to really love it. Everything about this made me think I was going to love it, but the execution was just really not there for me. However, that does mean that I have completed the prompt for astronomy for the Elle's Magical Readathon, which is to read a book mostly when it's dark outside. I read everything but 18 pages of this when it was dark outside, so that has definitely been accomplished. And for Bookopoly, this was selected for me via a chance card. So now that I've finished that, I have picked up something else this morning, and that is Love is a Mini Trouser Thing by Louise Renison. This is book 7. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't tell where it goes. This is book 8 in the Confessions of Georgia Nicholson series by Louise Renison. This is a young adult contemporary series. It's formatted in diary entries, and it is just a coming of age story about a girl who's 14 at the start of the series. I think she's 16 by the end of it, and it is literally just what she gets up to. She starts the series being interested in this boy, and she makes it her mission to make him her boyfriend. But as the series progresses, there are several boys. She gets into a lot of mischief with her friends. There are a couple of holidays, some school trips. It's just really funny. I'm not sure how a US audience would react to this book, but definitely if you're from the UK, I think that this can be incredibly relatable. What I will say though is that it does not stand up to the test of time with the way that they joke. It's very realistic to being a teenager in England at the time that I was a teenager, and probably a little bit before. However, it just would not fly with a modern audience, I would say. So I would not recommend reading this series if you have never read it before. I personally am rereading it. I read all of the books aside from the last one. So over the last year or so, I have been rereading this in audiobook format so that I can finally read the last book in this series and find out how it ends. The audiobook for this entire series is on Scribd. It's narrated by Louise Renison, and she honestly does an amazing job with the narration of this. I was doing my makeup earlier and I fucked up my eyeliner because I laughed at a point where I was just doing the bit where it comes into my eyelid. So yeah, this is very funny. I've laughed out loud several times this morning while I've been listening to this. So if you do want to do a reread, would definitely recommend that you check out the audiobooks because they are so funny. For the Elle's Magical Readathon, this one fulfills the prompt for Muggle Studies, which is to read a book from the perspective of a Muggle, so a contemporary, which this is. And for Bookopoly, I'm reading this for the prompt to read a contemporary / romance. So this morning I've already accomplished quite a bit actually. I have got my vlog uploaded, I've made my thumbnail. At around 4 p.m. I'm going to proof that, make sure everything's alright, and schedule it for upload later today. I've already packaged a ton of plaque orders. I've had some lunch, and my next job is to get glitter on all of the candles I made yesterday and just finish off the tops on the marble ones that don't have glitter, and then get a whole ton of those packaged up, and then hopefully if I have time I will will be able to make another batch of candles today. I'm nearly out of that box of wax I got yesterday. I do have another one on the way, but hopefully I will be able to catch up with the majority of orders with the wax that I've got. Now, usually when I am packaging my candle orders, I do watch Pretty Little Liars. I did finish season 4 of my rewatch of Pretty Little Liars last week, and it's since been taken off Netflix. Now, I do own season 5 on DVD, so I can continue, but after finishing Blood Heir, I'm really itching to rewatch Anastasia. It is my favorite animated movie of all time. I love Anastasia. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but I do have it on DVD if not. So my plan for the majority of the day is going to be to get those candle orders packed and rewatch one of my favorite films.
My sophomore year, I had my broken heart. You were my biggest fear, and then you watched me run out of all the right things to say, still finding reasons to stay with you. Gave you a call because I needed a ride, and never thought I'd be with you in your passenger side. And now we're driving downtown, baby, you make me feel young, like I just turned 21, yeah. I don't mind if you stay on my side and never let go.
Hey, so it is 12:30 AM. I've just finished packing all of those candle orders. I've done 17 today. I didn't get time to make any more candles, so I'll have to do that tomorrow, as well as filming and editing a video and also printing some plaques. But that is not why I'm here. I'm here to let you guys know that I didn't listen to too much more of Love Is a Many Tries a Thing today. I'm on page 111 of this, really loving the audiobook still, and hopefully we'll have more time to listen tomorrow. Honestly, while I was packing candle orders, I could have been listening to this and had it done already, but when I pack candle orders is the only time that I watch TV. So I watched Anastasia, still one of my favorite movies, still really loved it. I then caught up and watched last week's episode of Riverdale, and then while I had my dinner, I watched an episode of Angel and an episode of Buffy with Curtis, and I'm now on my second episode of Pretty Little Liars. This is the only reason that I get to watch TV, because I spend so much time packing orders, and my plan for what little I have left of the evening is to finish this episode. I'm on season 5, episode 2 now, and then I'm going to get in bed and start my next physical read, which is going to be Lady of Light and Shadows by C.L. Wilson. This is also a gift from the lovely Tracy, so thank you so much, Tracy, for this one. This is the second book in the Tyrant Soul series, which is a fantasy romance series that I read as I found the first book on a list of the most popular fantasy romance, I think it was. I gave the first book 4 stars. I really loved it, but I didn't love the insta-love aspects of it. In this series, we follow a Fae King called Rain Tyrant Soul, and his race is tied to these big mythical creatures called Tyran that are kind of like lions or panthers. They're like a really big cat, and for some reason the Tyran are dying out. So Rain is trying to do everything that he possibly can to stop this from happening, because it will mean the downfall of his race. So while he's looking for a cure for the Tyran's ailments, he does see a vision in a big crystal ball thing of a human city. So he visits there with his friend, and there he meets Elisetta Barastani, who is a mortal girl, and as soon as Tyran sees her, he knows that she is his true mate. So he goes from 0 to 100 in like 10 seconds, and Elisetta's like, whoa, calm down. The romance is actually more of a slow progression after that. Just his behavior is like totally insta-lovey, because he's all like, I must protect my mate, etc. But we don't really work up to that. It's like straight from the first chapter. And this is like a historical setting, so everything's about courting and propriety and doing the appropriate thing, which is not my vibe. You know, that's the main reason that I don't like historical fiction and historical romance. The fantasy aspects in the first book were pretty good as well. The only negative thing I could say about those is that the plot doesn't really have any kind of resolution or conflict really in the first book, because my main issue in the first book, Lord of the Fading Lands, was the insta-love. I think I'm going to enjoy this one a lot more, and I'm really excited to read it, because C.L. Wilson is one of the best fantasy romance authors according to many Goodreads lists and some of you guys as well. I was questioning my choice with picking this one up next, next, because for the Owl's Magical Readathon, this one will fulfill the prompt to read a book that features shapeshifting, as Rain Tyrant Soul can shift into a tyrant. And for Bookopoly, this was for the role to read a book that was gifted to me. This book is one that is on my core Bookopoly TBR that I have to read for the month. However, the two other books that I still have on my TBR are the first book in the Mistborn series, The Final Empire, which I need to read for Casmir Along, and also the first book in the Earthsea series, which I need to read for Le Guin Along. And as well as that, The Final Empire and the Earthsea book are the only two prompts that I need to fulfill for the owls to get my chosen career of potioneer. So I am questioning picking this one up. However, it is 400 pages, so it's kind of a middle of the road length book, and this is just the one I'm in the mood for, so I'm gonna roll with this one and then spend the last week of the month trying to get those two group books in. Hey, so I can't stay long because my dinner is nearly ready, but I just finished my reread of Love Is Many Tries the Thing by Louise Renison. I haven't put this into my spreadsheet yet, but I can tell you that I'm giving it 5 stars. I'm 26 years old. It has been over 10 years since I read this series for the first time, and it still makes me laugh so damn hard. These books are absolutely hilarious, and I just love all of the characters so much. I don't really have anything else to say on this book or on this series aside from that. I love it. This is my favorite series from my childhood, and I just absolutely adore it. So for the Magical Readathon, I have now completed Muggle Studies, and I have also completed the Bookopoly prompt to read a contemporary or a romance. I'm also almost on page 200 of Lady of Light and Shadows by C.L. Wilson. I'm enjoying that so far. It is a little bit cheesy. That's the thing that I don't love about this series. It's very much the romanticized, like, oh, a big strong fairy man comes to sweep me away, and there was like a ridiculous underwater sex scene that was like, I don't know, it's kind of like cheesy Channel 5 fantasy programs like Xena Warrior Princess and the Hercules series that they did, which I absolutely loved, but they are a little bit cheesy and this like real stereotype of fantasy romance. But aside from that, I am enjoying it. I'm currently in the process of trying to get today's video to go live. I uploaded it last night, and then when I came to proof it through, I had left a little mistake in it, so I've re-uploaded it. It's currently on 0% processed. It was supposed to go up nearly an hour ago. To be honest, actually, I may just go into the old one and edit out the mistake in YouTube Studio because it's annoying me and I have no idea how long this is going to take. The YouTube processing system has no kind of time limit. It just takes however long it takes. So it could be done in 10 minutes and it could also be done in like 4 hours. So I think I'm just gonna go back into the original one and do a quick edit and get that live. But I better go and actually do that because my dinner is nearly ready. Hey, so it's 11 p.m. I've just finished posting out a whole ton of plaques, and I was actually gonna call it a night, you know, as you would expect. It's 11 p.m. I was gonna stop working, but then I remembered that after listening to Love Is Many Tries the Thing, I desperately want to rewatch Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. I'm so excited to rewatch this film. I'm really sad that they never made a second one of this because they put Dave the Laugh in the first film, even though he's not in the books until book 2 or 3, but he never had his moment to shine because this one is all about the sex god. So I'm really sad about that. I don't know why they never made a second movie because as far as I'm aware, everybody loved it and it actually did quite well. So I'm gonna go and get on with that while I package some candle orders up. Just thought that I would come and let you know what I was doing because I know that this movie is super popular and a lot of you guys really love it too. And oh my god, they did such a good job with this adaptation, and then they just never continued to make any more. Your love is ultra violent vision, so insane. I just finished watching Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging, and oh my god, I still love it so much. Like, I could have cried. I don't know what's wrong with me. It must be a nostalgia thing. That movie is 12 years old now, which is mental. It was released in 2008, so I was the same age as Georgia, actually, I think. Yeah, I was the same age as Georgia in the movie at the time that it was released, which is probably why it holds a special place in my heart. I mean, I always say that the books are incredibly relatable, but the movie is incredibly relatable as well. You are a 15-year-old girl at that time. Still really sad that there's no sequel because I love Dave the Laugh with all of my heart. But it's now 1 AM. I did finish packing my candle orders. I'm having wax delivered either tomorrow or Saturday, but for now I'm going to go and get in bed and read some more of Lady of Light and Shadows.
It's called Theirs for the Night by Katie Robert. It is a male-male, female menage novella, and I have absolutely been fucking obsessed with Katie Robert lately. She is the author of the Wicked Villains series, which I'll talk about in just a minute, and I have been reading her books like candy, and she just also finished writing a Daddy King story.
I am currently only on page 26. I have not read too much today because I remembered that it's the 1st of April, which, although does mean first day of the owls, also meant new season on Animal Crossing.
Change my routine if you'll hold my hand, 'cause all my shades of blue go away when I'm with you. Put a golden frame around my heart.
So I just finished Lady of Light and Shadows by C.L. Wilson. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The interesting thing about this one though is that when I went into this series, I was looking for fantasy romance. I was looking for books that are equal parts fantasy and romance, which this series definitely is. And in the first book, despite the insta-love aspects, I did like the elements of romance within the first book, and I found the fantasy plot to be very good. They weren't excellent, they weren't perfect. I felt like the fantasy elements didn't resolve in the plot in the way that I expected, and I felt like it was a little bit lacking in that way. Now, interestingly, in the sequel, I prefer the fantasy elements a lot more than I preferred the romance. I think my issue, it's not necessarily an issue because I still enjoyed this book and I still enjoy this series, but my issue with the romance in these books is that it is lacking a lot of angst. Now, there was something in here that led to a little bit of angsty will they won't they, but aside from that, from pretty much the first page of the first book, you know that these two main characters are gonna be together. They are true mates, they're soulmates, and so there's not really any room for any angst within that dynamic. I definitely prefer romances that are more enemies to lovers, hate to love, or will they won't they type dynamic. So I definitely enjoyed the fantasy plot lines more in this one. We have fae magic in here. We also had the introduction of an elvish character, even though it was very brief, and there's also the mages that are the main antagonists of this. I also really liked one of the new characters that was introduced, which was Galen. I really like him. He's sassy, he's snarky, he says a big fuck you to pretty much everybody, and so I definitely enjoyed the dynamic that he added to Elisetta's quintet. Essentially, when it's discovered that she is the true mate of the King of the Fae, she is given a quintet of the most talented warriors to protect her. And one of the things that I don't like about the portrayal of fae in this book is that they're very serious. You know, the other day how I said this series is like Channel 5 fantasy TV shows like Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess. It's very melodramatic, it's very serious. Whereas I like fae men who are this immortal warrior type that are dark, they're brooding, they have a lot of banter, and it's pretty much just lads, but with immortal warriors. And Elisetta's quintet definitely provides that, and with Galen being a fiery character who's less into the whole obey the king at all costs kind of deal, I liked how that created opportunities for more banter within this book. I don't think any of the books in the series are going to be 5 stars for me. This one was a very low 4 star, and that is just because the two main characters, Elisetta and Rain, I don't love. I like them, I like their romance enough, but I'm not like madly in love with them. I'm not shipping them till the day I die kind of deal. The things that I don't like about this book, in this book in particular, while I did really love the fantasy plotline, as I said, I felt like there were a lot of elements to this plot and I was getting a little bit confused in parts. There are also a lot of characters, because not only do we have the characters who are here while the Fae are in the Mortal Lands, there is a lot about the history of the Fae. So there was a war 1,000 years ago between the Fae and the mages, and that is where the majority of the resentment and conflict for the plot come from. And because of that, we we have a lot of references to historical people, historical warriors, and they are relevant to the plot, but it's hard to remember who each individual character is when the main characters are referencing them so casually, because they actually lived 1,000 years ago and participated in this war. So I was struggling to keep all of the characters straight there, because with them all being Fae, they all have names that are in the Fae kind of language, and keeping them straight was a little bit difficult. Regarding the plot elements, I feel like there was a lot going on here. I don't feel like it was executed 100%. We do have some conveniences in here. Like I said, with the two main characters, like I know that they're going to be together. With the plot in this, I know that the characters are going to save the day at the last minute. There's no risk there. I don't feel like any of the main characters are going to die. There are side character deaths in here, like there is death in here, but it doesn't feel like super high stakes. I also feel like a couple of the plot elements could have been stripped back and the story would have been a little bit stronger. But overall, yeah, I really enjoy the series. I will be continuing. I'm excited to read the third book because the characters are moving on to a new location now, and I'm very curious about what that location is going to hold. So for the Owl's Magical Readathon, this one fulfills the prompt for Transfiguration, which is to read a book that contains shapeshifting. For my April Bookopoly TBR, this book also fulfills the prompt to read a book that was gifted to me as well. At this current moment, it is around 5:30 on Saturday afternoon. I have 3 entire books to get through in 5.5 days. Now, one of those books I was really stupid to leave till this point, because it is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, which is 640 pages. Not only is that on my core Bookopoly TBR, it is one that I require to be a potioneer, and it is also the group book for this month for Cosmere Along, with a live show at the beginning of May. So you could say I fucked up a little bit here, and I definitely have fucked up. That book is my main challenge on my TBR. I still have 5.5 days. I'm pretty confident that my sheer determination is going to get me through the last 3 books on my TBR. One of the 3 books that I have to read, I don't even know what it is. It is for divination, where I have to randomly select a book, and I think for that, probably next week's vlog, I'm going to get all of my graphic novels and manga that I haven't read yet, get them in a stack, and do a random number generator in my vlog to find out which one I'm going to read, because I know that I can get through one of those in a couple of hours. And honestly, it's not cheating, because I'm still fulfilling the prompt. I'm just taking the easiest way out possible for that one, because I'm going to struggle to get this done. I'm getting really worried now. But the third of those 3 books that I need to read before the end of the month is the first 130 pages of the Books of Earthsea by Ursula Le Guin Gwyn. I am a co-host for Le Guin Along, which is a read-along hosted by Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction, where we are reading one of the books in the Books of Earthsea every single month. So the first book is The Wizard of Earthsea. It is 130 pages of this massive tome. 130 pages, that is not a lot. Usually I could easily do that in a day, but the text in this is very small. I started this last week, I think. I read 8 pages and then I put it down and decided to read something else instead. But now we're at the point where I have left my 2 read-along books, the 2 books I need for my career, and 2 of the hardest books on my TBR until the last 5.5 days. So this one is the book that I'm going to be picking up next. I'm aiming to read at least half of this today. I definitely want it done this weekend. It has to be done this weekend, otherwise I don't have a hope in hell of completing my TBR, but hopefully I will be able to do the entire thing. We'll see how we go. So I don't really know too much about this, but it is a children's classic fantasy series, or at least the first 2 or 3 books in the series are children's, and we follow a boy. I believe he's quite arrogant because he's quite naturally talented at everything he does, and he goes to a magic school. I don't know much about this at all aside from the magic school aspects, and there are dragons in here at some point, but from watching Ashley's vlogs, I do believe that the main plot of the first book is that the main character accidentally releases some sort of demon thing that's following him, and he's then trying to get rid of. For the rest of the day, I do plan to do a lot of reading to get through this, but I'm also going to be making some more candles. I made 30 last night. I'm going to see if I can get through another 30 today, and then I'll spend tomorrow working on plaques and also packing candle orders for you guys. For the May candle release, I'm definitely still planning on doing a May candle release, but it's definitely going to be a little bit late, because technically it should be next Friday, and I currently currently don't have all of the fragrance oils I need because some of the fragrance oils I use are US fragrance oils. I buy them from a UK company, but I'm assuming that their shipment from the US has been delayed. So I'm struggling to get my hands on fragrance oils right now. I think I'm just about managing. I'm using like a ton of fragrance oil companies to get the ones that I need. So I'm going to be making candles. I think my next thing to do is going to be to make dinner actually, because I'm quite hungry. And later this evening I will be editing the video I've just filmed, which is an anti-haul and also a thumbnail, because I'm not sure what date we're doing it yet, because a lot of you guys have been asking for myself, Ashley and Gavin to host a live show, and it is actually my birthday on the 5th of May and then it is Gavin's birthday on the 7th of May. So sometime, I think it's going to be the following weekend, we are going to be doing a birthday bash live show with Gavin, Ashley and myself, where we will be drinking cocktails, talking about whatever you guys want us to. There'll probably be book talking there, like I'm gonna say there'll definitely be book talking there, but I'm gonna get a few questions on Twitter and we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. And I think Ashley is putting together a quiz for me and Gavin to see how well we know each other, but apparently it's like wrong answers only, so that's gonna be really fun. I don't drink a lot, so I'm gonna get quite drunk quite quickly, which will be funny. And honestly, Gavin sober is a hot mess, so I can't wait to see him drunk. It's 1:30 in the morning, but I have just finished A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula Le Guin. So this book, the first book in this book, is pretty much exactly what I told you it was yesterday. It is about a young boy from this fictional place called Earthsea who has very strong magical abilities. So he is sent to a magic school to hone these abilities. He has a lot of pride. He's very good at everything he does. He's very arrogant. And so when he's showing off one day, he accidentally releases this shadow into the world, and then this shadow is haunting him throughout the rest of his life up until where the book ends, where he's somewhere between 18 and 20, I want to say, though I'm not entirely sure. And so the main plot of this book is his long and arduous journey to defeat the shadow that has been pursuing him. And let me tell you, it was long and it was arduous. So I give this book 3 stars. It just scraped 3 stars. I was enjoying this for the most part up until the last third, I want to say. This is a very slow-paced book. The copy that I have, the text is absolutely minuscule. So even though it was 130 pages, it was the equivalent length of a larger book in terms of the actual word count. The writing style in this is not extremely hard to understand, but it's not particularly easy. It was published in 1968, so it is a classic fantasy, and I was enjoying the first 2/3 of this. I like the writing style. I don't necessarily like all of Ursula Le Guin's writing techniques and the way that she actually built the story, but the actual style of her writing was okay. I found every chapter a little bit difficult to get into the flow of, but when I got into it, I was enjoying it. Now that was up to the 2/3 mark. Now in the first 2/3, we are following Ged's early life. We're following him in the place where he's born, where he accomplishes his first real feat of magic. We're following him through the magic school, and all of that I really enjoyed. This is a coming of age fantasy, which is a type of fantasy that I particularly enjoy. However, when we hit that 2/3 mark, oh my god, there were so many boats. The world that these books are set in is a formation of islands. There's tons of islands. I'll show you the map actually, because then you'll see how many islands there are. So here we have all of the islands. So obviously for people to traverse this world, it is necessary for them to travel by boat. However, god, the last third of this book, it was nearly entirely on boat, and it wasn't even just one boat. It wasn't one long journey. It was get on a boat, go to somewhere else, get on another boat, get shipwrecked, get on another boat, go somewhere else. And it was just really frustrating. There's a lot of terminology to do with sailing in this book that just went right over my head. Plus, like, Ged watching the sun rise and set over the sea while he's sailing for like 40 pages is not my idea of a good time. So that was absolutely driving me mad through the last third of this book, and it took me so long to get through like the last 40-50 pages of this. So when I said I enjoyed the writing style, but I didn't necessarily enjoy how she built the plot, my issue with that mainly is the world building. It pretty much seemed like every time Ged would arrive at a new place, there would be a page like, this area has a rocky coast, it's a fishing village, there are 7 houses in a row, row and they string nets between them, and that was the extent of the world building, so it didn't feel natural. It felt like, oh, we're in a new place, let me describe it and then we'll get back into the plot kind of thing, which was a little bit disjointed for me. Those are the two main complaints that I have about this. I did find, however, that even though I was getting into it quite easily throughout the beginning, when I was putting it down, I just really did not want to pick it back up, and it took me a long time to read this book. I know it's only been like 30 hours, but for 130 pages, it took a long time, and man did it feel like it took me longer. There were points of this book that I liked though. I really liked the magic school setting. I really liked learning about the magic in here. I don't quite understand all of it yet, but I was enjoying the learning of the magic, especially. They have masters for every different type of magic, and it did remind me a lot of Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb throughout the beginning of this as well. Something that I did find particularly interesting about this book, considering it was published in 1968, is that all of the protagonists are actually POC, and we actually have light-skinned aggressors. In the very first chapter, there are white-skinned savages. That would have been something that was rarely, if ever, done before, especially as in the 60s. I don't think fantasy was a huge thing as a genre. I don't think there was too much of it about, so I found that interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to discussing that in the live show. The live show for this is going to be on the 2nd of May. It's on Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction's channel. I'm not sure what time it is, but I will pop it on the screen. Overall, this is a book about self-discovery, I guess. There's no real evil to face in this book, and it is very much coming of age, like Ged coming into himself and his power. I would definitely not say that this was a particularly compelling book, and I would also definitely say that this was not a riveting book, but I enjoyed it okay, and I heard that the second book, The Tombs of Atuan, is where the series starts to pick up and gets a lot better, so I'll keep my fingers crossed for that. So for the Elves Magical Readathon, this one fulfills the prompt for potions, which is to read a book under 150 pages. So I finally passed the main owl that I need for my career of potioneer. I can't believe we got this far into the month and I wanted to be a potioneer and I hadn't passed potions. And then for my April Bookopoly, this one fulfilled the challenge to read a middle grade. When I was looking into this book, when I was building my TBR, it was pretty much just regarded as children's literature, and I couldn't get a direct answer on whether this was a children's book or a young adult or teenage book. However, since I've read the book and also the foreword and the afterword, I now know that this book was intended to be read by teenagers. Ursula Le Guin wrote this story because she was specifically asked by her publisher to write a story for teenagers. So even though this isn't actually a children's book, I wasn't sure when I built Bookopoly, so it did go in for the prompt for middle grade, but this is actually a young adult series. So that is about it for this week's vlog. I'm going to go and get in bed. I'm probably not going to sleep yet though, because my sleeping pattern has gone out of the window again and I've been staying up until around 3, but I'm going to write in my planner for a little bit, get a to-do list set up for the first couple of days for the week, because work is still kicking my ass. But like I said, that is about it for this week's vlog. I hope you have enjoyed it if you've made it this far. If you did, then please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.